The Carolina Hurricanes, the Boston Bruins, and the Colorado Avalanche are looking to make massive comebacks so they could advance to the conference finals. The Canucks and Oilers is a tight series as every game was decided by one goal, as today we recap everything that happened in round 2 of the NHL playoffs so far. We have the potential of a 3-1 comeback and a 3-0 comeback, but we'll start with a 3-1. And looking for revenge from last year, the Boston Bruins have forced a Game 6 against the Florida Panthers and are playing at home ice in Game 6.
So what a storyline it would be, right? The reverse 3-1. This time, the inferior team is the Boston Celtics. Last year, it was the Florida Panthers do a comeback. Difference is Florida did theirs in the first round. These guys are doing it in the second round. Last two games have been close and tight for sure, even without Brad Marchand. Sucker punched. We'll be talking about the reffing and the inconsistency of the Department of Player Safety in a sec because we have a lot to talk about the Canucks one with it. But going back to this, yeah, the storyline is there. I feel like it might happen, but I don't know. Like the talent levels are a little flawed one way. But yeah, no, it's funny because you were saying it was off camera. I think yesterday you were just like, "Yo, what if this was just the Bruins' plan?" You know?
Yeah, they're like,
You're
they want 3-1.
Well, yeah, let's just go down 3-1 and see what happens, right? And yeah, no, like going into it, yeah, without Brad Marchand, he got sucker punched by Sam Bennett. Very questionable goal in game 4 as well. We had Sam Bennett out of all people scoring it. So people that don't know, I know many of you guys won't care because it's Brad Marchand and there's a lot of hate on Brad Marchand if you're not a Bruins fan. We're speaking it as a Canucks fan. But what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. He did get sucker punched and he's pretty much got concussed immediately. You could tell like it was like a boxing knockdown where like he couldn't even skate properly after, right? So because of that, he missed all of most of game 3 or half of game 3. He missed game 4 and he missed game 5. And the problem with this one is, and we'll touch base on it right now, apparently the Department of Player Safety did not get the angle that showed it where it was way, way worse as well. So that's something this is a good teaser for when we talk about the Canucks one in a second, but that's one thing, right? Issues with there. But going back to the game 5, Boston was up, and then there was a potential goalie interference that happened, which based on the rule...
That was game 4.
Sorry, game 4, there was a potential goalie interference that happened. And I guess based on the rule, it kind of was. Because I thought it wasn't goalie interference because it was a player pushed into the goalie.
That's
right?
the reason it was, though. That's the reason why. So basically, Sam Bennett cross-checked, right, Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman. And because of that, Jeremy Swayman was incapable of making a save. And that's the key word here. He was prevented of an opportunity to make the save. And it's a different story if Coyle wasn't impeded with. But the fact that Coyle was directly pushed by Bennett means it's goalie interference because an opposing player is using force on the defender to impede with his goalie, which was originally caused by the Panthers player, a.k.a. Bennett. So that's why it is goalie interference. And that's why it is in the rule book as well. And they got... Montgomery was right to challenge. He was definitely right to challenge and unfairly was given a goal.
So, yeah, the reason why they gave it a goal, I think, was because they thought it was a little bit flop type of thing, like a little, what's embellishment?
It was a little bit.
Sure, but like at the end of the day, the cross-check motion was kind of there as well. And that he fell onto the goalie, right? So like the reason why I thought it wasn't before reading the rule was because like, he cross-checked a player. So like, it's probably a cross-checking penalty that has happened to fall on the goalie, right? So yeah, based on the rules, like you said it perfectly, it is goaltender interference because it prevented the goalie to make the save. Because of that, Florida got another power play, did not do anything off it, but then I think it was Alexander Barkov scored like an amazing goal.
Nice goal.
Like amazing goal to win it in game 4.
But let's talk about how the Bruins compared to the Panthers of last year, because I find some comparisons here.
All right.
Number 1, apart from obviously goaltending, the MVP of that Bruins series last year for the Florida Panthers was Brandon Montour.
Okay.
What are the Boston Bruins' best position group? It's probably defense.
Yeah.
Right? Number 2, like I mentioned, Bobrovsky, He came into the series, played well enough, and did his job. Jeremy Swayman is on a whole nother level right now. Jeremy Swayman is way better than what that Bobrovsky is doing. And don't be wrong, Bobrovsky was great, and he's doing great in this series too. But Jeremy Swayman is cooking, and you could tell in those games that they lost, it wasn't Swayman's fault. Swayman just needed help, right? And it's kind of the same formula. The only difference is I did trust Florida's attack. I do trust Florida's offense more, and that's why that 3-1 comeback happened last year. And it's obviously a similar offense with the added of Okposo and Tarasenko. I don't have that trust in Boston's defense. So that's the reason why I'm not hopeful that, the Boston Bruins will come back.
Especially if Marchand's still injured.
Even though they're playing well without him.
Yeah.
They're doing better without him. Because Game 4 was a tight game. Games 2 and 3 were blowouts. And Game 5, they won. That's the reason why I still don't see Boston Bruins coming back. It's just because the Florida Panthers did, at the end of the day, they were on that incredible run entering. Yes, the defense, the goaltending, but the Panthers do have the attack. And the Bruins just don't have the attack. As simple as that.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said there. Yeah, look, credit to them. They're fighting, right? Like I said, this Florida team is made to win the cup this year with the size, the skill, the added veterans they added as well. Yes, goaltender is good. He's clutch, like you said, and he proved it. And that he made an amazing save in Game 4 as well. But yeah, no, as much as I don't like Boston, I would love to see the storyline just to come through, just because, right? Outside of that, like I said, I agree with you. I think Florida's way too overpowered, especially in that center group, right? Like if they had at least one of Krejci or Bergeron playing, sure, especially Bergeron, but they literally have no centers, right, that are capable, at that level, like 1 Cs, right? Like all their centers are like 3 Cs.
2 Cs at best, yeah.
Yeah, right. So because of that, yeah, I could see this. I'm gonna just say it ends in 6. I could be wrong again. I don't know if we have a BTR curse going on here. But first round, we did pretty well, the predictions, so I don't know if that was the case. But yeah, no, I agree with you. You nailed it on the head. It will be tough to still come back and win. 3-1, yeah, sure, they might make it 3-3 because they're home. I think Florida should still close it out. But man, what a storyline it would be if that's the case. The
best way the Bruins have the chance of winning these games is if they go into a lead, right? Game 4, it was a close game because they got the first goal. They were in the lead for most of the game. Game 5, they were in the lead. That's when they have the best opportunity because
Swayman could shut the door.
Swayman's just that good. Yeah. He's been that good, and he could shut the door after that. If you just give him a goal, just keep doing what you're doing, right? Get him that lead, right? Obviously, Florida's too good; they will score. I'm not saying Swayman's gonna get a shutout. He might still, who knows?
Yeah.
But they're playing in front. That's the difference between these wins and the close game in Game 4 and the Game 5 victory. They're playing from ahead. Right, they're not looking back. Obviously, games 2 and 3 just ultimately ended in blowouts, and that's key because if Swayman has a lead, Swayman's in the Panthers' heads, right? Even though they got like 6 goals past him like twice,
yeah,
he's still in their heads because he's a tough puzzle to solve.
Yeah, and then you obviously have that defense in front of them as well. So, yeah, no,
they just need to play from ahead, right? Yeah. If it goes 2 or 3, 2 down especially. 1 down, they could obviously come back. We saw it do it from Game 1. But a 2-goal lead, I don't see a chance for the Bruins making that comeback.
Yeah. So, interesting storyline to see here. But let's talk about the next. So, you're predicting it ends in 6?
Yeah. Okay. Boston, they also lost both their home games as well. They haven't defended home ice either. So, that's another reason why you could lose the series. It's kind of similar to the... Is it? No. Kind of similar to Canucks and Nashville in the terms of Canucks were good on the road. Panthers have been good on the road.
Yeah. Okay, the reason why I was typing here was because the next storyline is this: the 3-0 comeback. So only 4 teams have done this in NHL history. 2 of them in the 2010s decade, right? Not thinking the 2020s right now, but like since 2010, 2 have happened. I don't remember the 2014 one as much. I remember the 2010 one.
You remember the 2014 one?
I don't know why I don't remember this.
That's the one I remember.
That's the one where the Kings won the cup. I know. I just don't remember it being 2-0 or 3-0.
This was first round against San Jose.
Yeah, and then the one before that was 2010. I remember this one. Philadelphia came back from 0-3 down to Boston to come back and win it 4-3. Then the other 2 times it happened in 1975 where the Islanders beat the Penguins. And then 1942, the Maple Leafs came back on the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow.
And won the cup. Leaf fans, that's your one cup memory you guys may have. Whoever was born in 1942 or before. And so there's 4 of those unsuccessful wise.
I was about to say it. Right?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that happened. So they're having 9 3-0 comebacks, about 50% successful.
9 3-0 comebacks.
Like to tie it up 3-3.
Oh, okay, so
and then 4 of them were successful by winning it.
So 9 times it went to a game 7.
Yes, yeah. So those ones were 1939, 1945, 1975.
I'm just gonna say.
And then 2 in 2011. Do you remember you remember one of them? Obviously.
Oh yeah, obviously Canucks Blackhawks.
Do you remember this one? I kind of remember it now. Detroit San Jose.
Yeah. San Jose was up 3-0.
It was the semifinals. So San Jose was up 3-0, and then we ended up playing San Jose in the conference finals that year.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm predicting a game 7.
Okay.
Not only that, I have so much faith in Carolina in these playoffs. Because
you're gonna say they're gonna.
I'm backing them. I said Carolina in 7 when I started it off.
Yeah, same here.
I'm sticking with that. And there was no reason why. Like we said, like when they were down 3-0 when we recorded and they were playing game 4, like this could be a sweep, the closest sweep ever. Or
every game was 1-goal games.
Yeah, and apart from game 5, I think. Game 5 wasn't. I think it was like a 2-goal game.
I'll double check, but
unless they made it 3-2, I don't know, or maybe 4-2. I don't know what it was. But yeah, every game was so close. It could.
Oh no, sorry, it was 4-1.
Yeah, it could genuinely be a comeback, or it could be a sweep. And right now, it's looking like on the verge of comeback. The momentum is on Carolina's side. It sucks because they got a 2-day break.
Yeah, that might kill them.
That might ruin it. That might give time to Rangers to reset. And as simple as this, right? Like Carolina finished their chances in these games, right? And they were down in that game 5, right? Entering the third period, and they got big goals, right? Kuznetsov especially with his Eagle celebration after. They're finishing chances. Freddie Anderson's playing really well. He's keeping them in the games. He's making clutch saves. And they're back in Raleigh, right? They're back in home in game 6. I think they pull it off. I really do.
I want to see it being pulled off. That's gonna be that's crazy. A 50% success rate in NHL history when you have 0 in the NBA, and then in the MLB, I have it up here. I might as well just double check it. It was just that it's Red Sox Yankee.
Yeah.
Right. They're 1 for 2. Like 2020, Houston, Tampa, the ALCS was that where Tampa came back. Tampa had a 3-0 lead. Houston tied in the COVID pandemic World Series.
Like realistically, when I'm watching, a game 5 or a game 4 compared to like a game 2 and 3, Carolina played the same way. It's just that they were able to score.
Yeah. Right.
Probably a little bit more aggressive, or in terms of a little bit patience because they didn't generate that many shots compared to like games 3 and 4, or games 2 and 3. I mean. So they maybe have, had a little bit better plays. But their goals were good. Obviously, I think Shesterkin would love to have the Kuznetsov one back because that was a bad rebound in Game 5. But overall, in my opinion, they're playing the same way. They're playing still good hockey. They were when they're losing. They still are when they're winning. And it's now the Rangers' turn to answer back because I don't know. If it goes to Game 7, I still think it's a 50-50. I'm not going to guarantee a Carolina win. But I feel like this Game 6 will be tougher for Carolina than it will be in Game 7 in terms of the fuel that there will be, that adrenaline they'll be on going into Game 7 as well.
So I'm gonna disagree. I think it'll be end in 6 because of this break, and there's nothing like this series is close either way. Like I will not be surprised if they come back and do it. I want to see it happen. Right? It's been a while for in any sport.
Yeah, you want to see it happen. I need to see it happen.
Yeah, because that's your pick.
Right? I'm so far perfect right now.
But here's the thing, right? That 2-day break. The Rangers' power play hasn't been clicking like it did in the first game especially. I feel like they'll figure that out. They're that good of a team to do that. They have the talent to do it. This last game, their top line struggled. Lafreniere he's having the playoffs of his life. He struggled. Panarin, all these guys struggled, right? So I expect them to be I forget who their center was in that one, but Chris Kreider, I think?
No, Kreider's a winger. There's a Benedict and Kreider together.
Okay, I forget who their center was, but
is it Trocheck?
Oh yeah, Trocheck.
Yeah, Trocheck. Yeah.
So they had a bad game as well, like especially the last game. I'm gonna say the Rangers win it because I feel like we saw it in different sports, but we saw what happened in basketball with the breaks between the Timberwolves and the Nuggets because the Timberwolves are up 2-0 away before they got the 4-day break, and then it helped one team and it hurt the other team. I'm gonna say the momentum for Carolina, it hurt them. So because of that, I'm saying the Rangers are still that good. I'm saying Rangers will close it out next game. But again, like this series is like I forget who they had. I think Halford and Bruff had a guy from New York on. I think I'm from NHL.com or Sirius XM Radio, and he's like he asked him, he's like, do you think the Canes come back or the Rangers close it in 6? And the dudes are just like, I don't know.
You don't know.
The series has been that close and unpredictable that like you could see it and then you won't. Like we said last time, we could see a sweep, but we could also see a 7-gamer.
Like it's tight, right? It's a matter of seconds, a matter of bounces. That's how tight the series has been.
Yeah, so it's
and
like
even though the Rangers were up 3-0, they could have easily been down. Actually, they could have been down 2-1. I'll give game 1 to Rangers because they were definitely, in my opinion, the better team, especially on special teams as well.
Yeah.
But like games 2 and 3, lucky bounces to Carolina. Maybe a bad goal let in from Shesterkin because he did like face 50 shots and another 40 after that. We don't know, right? This series could be over for Carolina, 4-1 victory right now.
Yeah.
Easily.
So this game, like coming down to it, it's gonna just come down to who's gonna make less mistakes per game. Literally, whoever makes one mistake is probably gonna lose this game. Comes down to it. Whether that be a goalie error, whether that be a giveaway, whether that be the goalie didn't make the save that a low percentage shot he let in, whatever the case may be, it's just probably gonna come down to one play or whoever makes like the least amount of mistakes. And I expect it to be in the single digits.
This series has proven that playoff games are a game of inches, right? They're games of just one moment of brilliance, right? It takes 1 second, 1 minute lapse for a team just to pounce on you, and this series has been shown to do that right now.
All right, let's head over to the Western Conference. So we are recording this while the Colorado-Dallas Game 5 is going on. Colorado up right now 3-2. So we'll come back to this to see how much time will be left. We might come back in the future because we still got to talk a little bit of EPL. We might do that little classic, we're back from the past, we're in the future, whatever pod, depending on how this game goes. We got to talk about the team on your shirt. The Vancouver Canucks, little homerism from us, but try to keep it unbiased as possible like we always do. You guys know that because I literally said Oilers will win this in 6. A lot of drama. And listen, what Calgary and Edmonton did not live up to, which was supposed to be a bigger rivalry, I think it's gaining down on this. There's a lot of out of control. A lot of the fans are going at it. This Edmonton Twitter versus Canucks Twitter is going insane. You're seeing fans go crazy at the stadiums. Swearing at each player in the penalty box when you're in Edmonton. We have obviously the viral kid, which we're not going to bring up too much now. It's living up to the definite rivalry hype.
It's a battle of the Western Canada, right? It's living up. The battle part, emphasis on battle because it's living up to that battle.
Each game is 1-goal games as well.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it. Canucks heading into, I think last time we talked, it was 1-1. So now
games 3 and 4 essentially.
This split that is 2-2. And
so commenting on game 3 quickly, the JT Miller line did manage to contain Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman, and but the bigger story for the Oilers for that game was Stuart Skinner again disappointed, and was pulled in the third period for Calvin Pickard. But overall, great first period by the Canucks. Brock Besser almost had a natural hat trick in the first period. Obviously, eventually the goal went to Lindholm, who had a 2-goal performance himself. And after that, they defended really well, right? And
Sheelos made the big saves.
Sheelos made the big saves, obviously 42, right?
Yeah,
42 save performance, absolutely incredible. Don't get me wrong, a lot of credit goes to him. But a lot of credit goes to the people in front of him. Take said that game after the presser that everyone, stepped up, everyone did their part. And that was true because, yes, Edmonton might have had all the pressure in the third period especially, but they did not really get anything up until the end where they scored.
Yeah,
essentially.
So speaking on the Edmonton side of things first, or do you want to go to game 4 right now? You want me to go game 4?
We'll quickly recap game 4 then.
Okay, so I'll go game 4 here very quickly. So the Oilers obviously had a better start, right? They did not get... Oh, a big thing about game 4 was Carson Soucy was also suspended. So after the game...
And Calvin Pickard started.
So I'll touch on Pickard in a second. The Soucy suspension, yes. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's get it off our chest here. This is what I was alluding to earlier with the Brad Marchand thing. What happened was after the final whistle, McDavid line was on there with the extra man, and him and Soucy started jawing. McDavid put a slash towards Soucy. Susie did a small slash back. Something, they're chirping. Susie's about to do like a cross check to the midsection, right? However, Zadorov comes from out of nowhere and probably cost him the suspension that way and got himself a $5,000 fine. He's cross-checked him from the back as Susie was going to cross-check him from the front, ends up hitting him in the face, gets a 1-game suspension. Here's my thing, right? I don't have issue with the suspension. I really, really don't. It's not, I just didn't like the consistency of what's happening, right? And people are going to say, oh, what about this? What about that? We have to address this. Because in that scrum, we also had Zach Hyman doing a slash or a cross check as well. I think that was like right at the final buzzer on Zadorov. Zadorov has stitches like right here, I think, when you were to see him. So there's one thing there.
That's
right?
one incident.
It helps that you're Connor McDavid, and I'm not saying that like the league adores Connor McDavid, and that's the only reason why he got the suspension. It helps that if it's a star player, the face of your league gets that, you kind of have to step up and step in there, right? But my issue is, okay, what about the slew foot on Quinn Hughes, right? The Canucks version of Connor McDavid is literally Quinn Hughes. And Quinn Hughes this year has been the best defenseman in the league and is arguably a top two, arguably is the second best defenseman in the league. I'm still giving Cale Makar number one. You could argue Fox, him, whoever else you want, right? Heiskanen, yeah, anyone, right? So he's in the conversation of the second best defenseman in the league. He gets slew-footed. There's no hearing. There's no talk about that, right?
That was Evander Kane.
Then
that was
Evander Kane,
and
who's known, by the way, who's more dirty than Carson Soucy.
In game 2, Evander Kane did that in the third period.
And then also in game 2, I forget who it was, does the spear on Niels Höglander in the groin area, in the balls, essentially. That's not a hockey play. Like Craig Bunn said, like the Soucy one was not a hockey play. Fair, agree. That one is definitely not a hockey play. You don't glide by him and just poke him in that area and then like, yeah, he got a penalty for it. Don't get me wrong, right? So there's that. Sure, if you're thinking we're homers of being a Canucks fan here, fine. Going back to the Brad Marchand thing.
Yeah, how
Sam Bennett has a history because he did it to Matthew Nyes last year with a stick, like going down on his neck even last year, which is surprising because and nothing happened from that because it technically is Toronto involved in that. And then this year he does this, and then supposedly Department of Player Safety did not have that angle where it made it look like it was a true sucker punch. Make it make sense because he at least has somewhat of a history of doing something. Carson Soucy, said it was unfortunate timing. Just because he doesn't have a history doesn't mean he shouldn't get suspended. We know that Morgan Riley did what he did to Ridley Greig just because it's still a dangerous play, intentional or unintentional, whatever the case may be. So that's where I have an issue with it, right? Like I said, no game was lost because of officiating before anyone says anything. We said that in game 2, the officiating was questionable, but that was not the reason why the Canucks ended up losing that game. And that's the same reason why the Canucks did not end up winning. The Canucks ended up winning game 3 wasn't because of officiating as well. It's just like the lack of consistency with the calls is annoying. But when it comes to the safety side of things, like I won't be like I'm not surprised that people are calling like, oh, it's because McDavid's the reason why he got suspended.
So here's my issue, right? Especially when the point you brought up, I'm not gonna mention anything about the plays and stuff. You already know my thoughts. Yeah, and it should be suspended. Sushi should have been suspended, and I think Evander Kane should have been suspended. At least all one game, whatever. Not Susie. Bennett's on his Bertuzzi stuff. I don't know what he was doing there, especially with his incidents in the past. But the issue that I see is why isn't the NHL player safety department, whatever it's called, not doing its due diligence to get all the angles? How come us fans or people on Twitter or whatever it is or on social media are getting the angles, but you as a department to keep the player safe are not doing a due diligence to get all the angles, right? That's my biggest issue. That just means that there's just things that you look more closely than others, right? They looked at the McDavid thing more closely than Sam Bennett did. The Sam Bennett incident on Brad Marchand, right? And that's what the issue is.
I'm going to cut you off for a second. Brad Marchand's a star in this league. He's a future Hall of Famer. Whether you hate him or not, you like it or not, we acknowledge that he is a future Hall of Famer and a well-deserved Hall of Fame as well, based on what he has done, minus obviously his hand.
Yeah, so the issue is not Soucy getting suspended. The issue is how come that Soucy was looked into far more deeply than Sam Bennett getting sucker punching Brad Marchand, than Evander Kane slew-footing Quinn Hughes. And there's probably
who's also, like I said, a star in this league.
Exactly. So
superstar to be exact.
There's the thing. They're not looking at every incident the same. type of thing.
Yeah.
That's my issue, right? An incident is an incident at the end of the day, no matter who's involved. It could be a fourth liner, right? It could be McDavid. Just because he's McDavid, he looked into more deeply than Brad Marchand did. That's what I'm saying. Because if you're bringing up, they don't have that angle that makes it look like a sucker punch. That means they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
And then, like, listen, I forget what his name was. Don Sweeney came out. He's a Bruins GM. And it was just like, okay, to the media, like, why are you asking about the offside to his coach? Because you already saw the coach challenge it. You know what his thoughts are. But the emphasis he put was the refs need to be held accountable and need to be available for media. It doesn't have to be a whole media scrum. I get it. Maybe like 1 or 2 media members. I think other sports have that. I think baseball does, because remember the situation where Yankee manager Aaron Boone got kicked out because a fan said something and then the guy didn't apologize after. So they're at least available, right? We have the 2-minute report, which is bullshit. I get it. In the NBA, but I heard from again Halford and Bruff listening to that that there is someone available at least to 1 or 2 people, right? Not like a whole media scrum. NHL needs that, because listen, that Zadorov hit was clean on Kane, and just because you gave him a penalty, by correcting it, listen. As a Canucks fan, we're fine with it because he got a 4-4 out of it. But outside of that, like, I don't think Corey Perry or whoever got the penalty and Corey Perry served it. I don't know what the case was. A bench minor.
That's why.
So bench minor, just to correct your mistake. You could have easily been like, yeah, that's not a penalty, right? Like, I get it. Kane also baited him a little bit, sure. So like, you're correcting mistakes by punishing other things, like
both teams.
And again. This is not a hockey problem. This is a sports problem.
Yeah, this is
right?
a sports problem.
No reffing in any sport is going to be consistent. You want to be bad? We're just asking to be equally as bad. It will be frustrating to watch. Just be equally as bad.
Yeah, just consistency, right? If you're going to be shit, be shit.
Yeah.
If you're going to be good, then be good. As simple as that.
Every fan base is going to complain about the refs are against them, right? That's normal. Like, we were literally having a family group chat argument about the refs, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially and it looked like in game 2 compared to game 3. It looked like the game 3 one was the refs correcting their mistakes from game 2 for the Canucks, right? So every fan base is gonna be like the refs against them. That's normal. That's part of being fans.
Bro, why do you think every arena has a refs you suck chant?
Yeah.
It's not like someone made it up. It's just
like you could have had all the benefits in the world, but you're still gonna get hated on by the fan base if you miss one call. That's normal. It's a hard job. There's a reason why Talkett doesn't go after the refs as often as he does. Like, he barely does. Like, the only time I've seen it animated was that Game 6 Lindholm penalty on a Nashville series. That's it. Yeah. Right? Where he was kind of questioned. He did say, like, Hyman should have been suspended or looked at least with that thing. But, yeah. We'll leave it there because we've had our chats on this in the past. But this time we actually have to, like, talk about it because a lot of factors were in this situation. But let's move on. Now I'll move on to Game 4 now. Game 4, the Canucks were just a horrible team. It was reminiscent of Game 4 from Nashville. Almost pulled off what they did in Nashville, but I think a blessing in disguise of a loss, because not every win, like, if they had won, they probably would have been like a little bit more complacent or whatever the case may be. Plus, they could just be like, listen, we cannot be playing this smash and grab game where we're down and just score 2 goals in like 2 seconds, like exaggerated 2 seconds, like 2 goals in like 5 minutes max. Or no, literal seconds. 2 goals in like 20 seconds. Because they did it in game 1 against...
Well, this is different. Like, it was Edmonton scored after. That's what the 2 goals in 20 seconds was.
True, but that still happened.
Yeah.
It still happened. Then in game 1 against Edmonton, same thing happened. In game 1 against Nashville, it happened.
Well, the difference between...
And then game 4 in Nashville happened
Game 4 in the first 2 periods, we were bad. Like,
yeah.
Defensively, we were okay. Obviously, Seelovs again kept us in the game. Offensively, we provided nothing. And in game 1, I actually felt like the Canucks played good and Canucks, we're the better team.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Game 4 was not that case. Like,
yeah.
I don't think game 1 is robbery for the Canucks.
No.
I will not say that.
No.
But game 4, if the Canucks won...
It was robbery.
It was a robbery.
It was game 4 Nashville. So, but my point is, like, you got to change something up. And listen, Talkett was the first time ever he was frustrated. Obviously...
In these playoffs.
Yeah.
That's to mention. But yeah, no, like, that's where I had my issues with Talkett in this playoffs. Where I felt like, even when you're winning games in the regular season, you were switching up lines like crazy. But in these playoffs, we saw moments of, where your team was really bad. Like, where we're, as us fans, at one point, we're wondering, how the hell are we in the second round? Type of thing. Like,
yeah.
That's how bad they were. And I like that was fired up now, but I felt like these adjustments should have happened earlier that he's trying to make for Game 5. And obviously, he did make some after Game 2 where he brought in Linus Karlsson and took out Niels Höglander and brought in Niels Oman for Phil DiGiuseppe.
Phil DiGiuseppe was out because of personal reasons. It may have been a decision he would have had to make, but it may be because he was also out for personal reasons. But
I like this Tocchet, right? This is a Tocchet we got all year. This is a Tocchet that was a Jack Adams favorite. We haven't seen that in these playoffs. And yeah, maybe in the Nashville he didn't necessarily need it, but I felt like, if there's a time that it needs to be happening, it is now. I do feel like it personally could have happened a little bit earlier on in the series, but I'm just glad it's happening now, and he's putting people on blast, right? And well deserved, because the players that he's called that half his forward group was passengers.
The team, not just the forward group.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure Hronek is part of that.
Half a dozen of the teams were passengers. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're definitely not wrong. And obviously getting a little bit of a personal shout out to PD in the sense of he needs to be better. And also gave him a little bit of slack saying that he has no support on his line as well. But overall, he's like, he has the ability to drive that play, and he has not been doing that as well.
The point is, is he injured? We don't know, right?
He's not.
And is it a confidence thing? And yes, that's most likely the case. I still agree that at least in game 1 and 2 and parts of game 3, I'm just like, the line mates let him down. There was no debate about it. The line mates let him down. And then this game, there were moments where the line mates let him down, and there were moments where he does not look like Elias Pettersson at all, right? And so this is what he said. He said he's not changing the top two lines. The top two lines in this case being the Lindholm line and the Miller line. Miller, by the way, horrible game for himself. That last goal was on him plus everybody else. Philip Hronek does not look like an $8 million player like he probably would have gotten. So that's not happening. But going back to this, he did say, which threw me a bit of a surprise, but not really when you look into it. Lekera Mackey might be coming in, and he has 0 NHL experience. And this is his reasoning. Lekera Mackey, by the way, is the Canucks' first-round pick from the 2022 draft. Played over in the SHL for the last 2 years, the Allsvenskan and the SHL, and then played a couple of Abbotsford games during the regular season as well when his season ended there. The reason why he's saying that is he didn't say the names, but Ilya Mikheyev didn't done shit. Sam Lafferty looked horrible. So Niels Höglander was already out of the lineup. He might go back in, and he's like, outside of the top 6, no one else really has done much, right? We know PD's not getting benched. There's no way about that, and so it's he's like, well, so it's on the table. He's like, he's on the table. He's like, nothing won't matter, but he's more of a sharpshooter than Mikheyev is. So what if he ends up scoring? And those chances he gets, right? Before you go on. So that's why, right? And then the other names he threw out there, like Paul Colson, Höglander could come back in. Höglander I could see likely. I think Paul Colson should get back in. Archie Baines, he said also. And people are going to be like, oh, why Baines? Listen, as long as he didn't take any penalties, he was fine for the most part. Yes, the game was a little fast for him. Hopefully he learned a little bit. But again, there's no one in the bottom 6 producing anything. And we're going to talk about the Oilers because it's a very similar sense for them. This could fall for the Oilers as well. Why not give these guys a shot and then they might do something with it? Linus Karlsson, at least game 3 looked good. Game 4, he was okay, man. Sam Lafferty didn't do shit with PD. He was moved up and he went back down instantly. And played 7 minutes.
As simple as this, right? It's just lackluster for all these guys, right? We've seen Mikheyev be good.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the letdown is. Obviously, we know what PD does.
At least with Mikheyev, outside of game 4, still looked dangerous. He got scoring chances. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, I know, but just in general, right? We've seen Mikheyev play good. He has not been good, right? We've seen Höglander be good. Obviously, 20 plus goals, all on even strength.
Yeah,
it's a great accomplishment.
He was amongst the leaders in even strength goals.
It was a great accomplishment this year, and obviously he hasn't looked like any bit of that. We already know about Pettersson, and then obviously fourth line. Yeah, what do you expect from Bluger, Lafferty, and DiGiuseppe or Oman, whatever it is? I honestly thought with Bluger centering the line looked more dangerous than PD centering the line in Game 4. Personally, I saw Bluger get a couple of chances here and there.
Yeah.
PD again was a ghost. I didn't even know he played Game 3. Personally, especially in Game 4, I didn't even know he played that.
There were moments in Game 4 where he, when he was line mated with Garland and Besser or something, there was a scoring chance instantly.
Yeah, it's true. And also he had a big face-off in the second goal.
Yeah, the fact that Tocchet gave him I reacted, I'm why is he taking the face-off? Because he isn't the greatest face-off guy.
But here's the thing, and here's what I'm thinking. Pettersson has kind of developed into a two-way type player, right? He could hold his own defensively now.
Yeah.
right? Obviously, we don't know what Lekkerimäki brings to the table, and we don't know what Höglander brings to the table in this playoff so far. What he can do really, because this is his first time too.
Lekkerimäki is a bit of a stretch because he's never played.
But here's the thing: who out of the players that Talkit listed, right? And no offense to like all these guys, but Baines and who are the other ones? Podkolzin and all. In my personal opinion, Lekkerimäki brings the most offensive firepower.
But the problem with that is the chemistry. He has zero chemistry with teammates. Baines at least still played with PD for a little bit. Podkolzin has played with PD in the past. So at least, like, I'm not saying America shouldn't get in. I'll be fine with it because the Oilers might be like, what's the best part about a sport? If you haven't seen the guy, the unpredictability of what he's going to do.
That's how it works, right?
So if he gets thrown in there, I won't be surprised, but it's still a massive risk to put that guy in there.
Cale Makar made his NHL debut in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he looked amazing.
I'm just saying this, like, sacrifice the defense on the PD line, right? You have your top two lines going against Draisaitl and McDavid.
Yeah.
Right? If they're together or if they're apart, doesn't matter. You have two lines going at it, right? Just go all out offense, right? Who cares about Mikhail plays well defensively? I don't care. I want offense. You have two lines that can play good defensively. You have big defensemen who are holding their own. Shout out to Tyler Myers. Obviously, he deserves a lot of credit because he's obviously
him and Susie have been amazing.
One of the hated Canucks players in the recent memory, but he has been incredible and also playing banged up. Go all out offense. If Lekkerimäki is your, on paper, seems like the most dangerous offensive player, put him in.
But the question
if Podkolzin could do that, put him in. If Höglander is that, put him in.
The only question with that is going to be on PD, right? Can he drive it? And yes, we've seen PD create and McKay have missed. Those chances, I believe he could at least put it on net, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying the risk is the lack of. We've seen the lack of chemistry PD has with some of the line mates because they keep changing.
That's the issue. The risk is the lack of chemistry.
Yeah.
Right? There is no risk.
So you're all aboard. Like, get Lekkerimäki in there. Who cares?
I personally believe out of all the players he listed, Lekkerimäki brings the best offensive talent into the lineup.
That's true.
And obviously that is a lot to do with his shooting ability. And it's as simple as this. You were saying that PD has no chemistry. Like, he has no chemistry with anyone on the team right now that's playing with him.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Podkolzin. Only because I feel like I know with him he'll forecheck properly. Yeah, I don't know about that with Lekkerimäki. That's the Talkit style we got to see as well. So Podkolzin has a shot himself, at least better than Mikheyev.
So what if you balance it out in the sense of you got PD?
I think it should be PD, Höglander, and Podkolzin. That's just me.
That's fair.
If you're not splitting up the two lines.
But personally, I think Höglander should go back to the fourth line. And see, because he could be this energy
play generator there, like with Card.
Yeah, like just fourth line. You know, who knows? You might be go up against weaker lines, and you might just do good there. Because at the end of the day, like, PD is a part of the game plan, defensive game plan for Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah,
right. No matter how shit he has been, he is always going to be a name in the Edmonton locker room saying that we need to worry about this guy.
Yeah,
right. So apart from, I'm saying move Höglander to the fourth line. At the end of the day, more than half of his goals came in the fourth line. Right. That's point one. I think Höglander could be your offensive output in line 4 with Bluger and Oman, whoever is the other guy, Lafferty, whoever it is. I think Bluger should stay in. Obviously,
Bluger's staying in.
Yeah, he's definitely staying in.
I think
and I think you just go balls to the wall with a PD, Lekkerimäki, and a Podkolzin.
Yeah, all that will depend on if PD struggles. That line's getting benched the whole game.
If PD struggles, with that massive a change, with Talkit trying to bring in help. That's on PD.
Okay, I can't say like that much of a help either because, again, unproven player and another unproven playoff player. So that, again, like, we'll see what PD does himself to drive the line. If he does what he does in game 1, fair. I'm only going to see PD if he does in game 1. After that, it just depends on what the line mates are.
It does depend on line mates, yeah. But
you got to think about it this way. Lekkerimäki also hasn't played NHL speed, let alone playoff speed.
But when you look at games 3 and 4, PD did not do anything offensively to drive play. At all. As simple as that.
Yeah. So
it's both ways, right? PD does deserve some slack in the sense of he has no line mates, but onus is on him. You're getting $11.6 million per year now, not to just, rely on your support from your line mates, right? You're not freaking Lindholm, Garland, Joshua, who work together, all three work together, and if they're taken apart, they might not work together at all, type of thing. Like, they might not work on any other part of the lineup. You're not that player.
Yeah.
You're given the money to drive play. You're given the money to make your line mates better at the end of the day. That's your job. You're not doing your job. and you haven't done that all postseason. You get some slack. Don't get me wrong. But
he does for sure. Some slack for sure.
But at some point, you gotta look yourself in the mirror as well. And right now, Pettersson's gotta look himself in the mirror because in Game 3 and Game 4, he was a ghost story. I genuinely did not know Pettersson played in Games 3 and 4 up until the Game 4 face-off he won. And that's it. I'll be completely honest with you, right? I did not mention
Game 3 he scored.
No, he didn't. He scored in Game 2, and that's on the power play.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I thought it was Game 3.
No, he didn't. Game 2, he scored in Game 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wait, never mind. Yeah, it was Besser Lindholm.
He was a ghost story. As simple as that. And that can't slide.
Was it? Okay, so
go balls to the wall.
Couple things here. But if you were to tell me like the Canucks are doing this with the third string goalie, who's playing well, but I'm just saying a third string goalie, Elias Pettersson's struggle, and they could have been up 3-1, but for sure be 2-2 the Edmonton Oilers at this moment. That's insane. Especially like it helps that Edmonton's goaltending and the depth isn't doing well there. But I'm just saying like that's still crazy to me to think that they're still here. So if and the power play being horrible in Game 4 as well.
It was dreadful.
So that being said, like if at least one of those things fixed, they could have been up 3-1 right now. We're hoping it's PD because it helps the long term. But man, oh man, this people got this series wrong. Because let's talk about the Oilers. They went with Calvin Pickard, which I think was the right decision.
It was the right decision. It was the right decision.
It was the right decision, but they split up Draisaitl and McDavid because in Game 3 they ended up playing 30+ minutes. So even if the Canucks were to go past in this series, the Oilers were to get past in this series, then Draisaitl was already playing injured anyways. That's gonna help not hurt them in the long term if they even want to make it to the Cup final. That's number one. So that them splitting it up, at least it gives them 2 lines of firepower. Game 1, like they struggled because Draisaitl went out. When Draisaitl was still there, they kind of cooked. They were up.
They were up.
Right, yeah, there were horrible goals. The Canucks were still the better team, but a lot of that chances came when Draisaitl was injured. So that helps because the Kane line, whatever it is, was horrendous. Going into this game, that third line they have has been horrendous, and I heard that they were a contributing factor in many goals in during the regular season. So I don't even know what their line 4 is, to be honest with you. The Perry, McLeod, and someone else.
Perry, McLeod, and Fogle.
Holloway or Fogle, yeah.
Holloway's in the top 6.
But so they struggled, and that the story of the Oilers in this case, why they're losing: 1, Stuart Skinner; 2, 0 depth scoring whatsoever. Because every goal they scored was either from a McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, and this game was one of those lines that ended up scoring.
And power play.
And obviously the power play helped.
Obviously, Nuge was a big factor in Game 4 because he got that goal. Obviously, and he at Noah Julison's expense.
Yeah.
But overall, let's talk about goaltending quickly. Calvin Pickard did the job that Stuart Skinner was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. We're not
Just
saying
make the simple saves.
Make the simple saves, and as simple as that. Pickard did that well. He controlled his rebounds. He looked sharp in the third period in the sense of because that's when he got the most shots faced, and that's when the Canucks kind of started playing offense. But Pickard looked relaxed and calm. Obviously, the Canucks did not pepper him enough. But overall, Stuart Skinner just has been the biggest reason why the Oilers are tied 2-2 right now.
Yeah, so that's number 1. Number 2, the way the Oilers could win this series now is pounce on the mistakes like they did in the end of the game, right? When the Canucks made it 2-2, they were stuck in their own zone. JT Miller tried to cheat early and try to get like a breakout while the puck was kept in and didn't block the shot. So pounce on the mistakes like that. Their defenseman scoring has been insane. Ekholm and Bouchard. They split up. We were talking about goaltending. They split up CC and Nurse, who were horrendous the first 3 games. So they split them up amongst the bottom 4 pairing there. And then, just like find a way to get more depth scoring. If you find a way to get more depth scoring, they win the series, right? I want to be wrong. I'm going to make that clear. I'm not rooting for the Oilers just because I picked the Oilers in 6. But from an unbiased perspective, at the beginning of the year, we know who the better team was. We know why a lot of the experts, non-Oiler experts as well, picked like 23 out of the 24 people from ESPN picked the Oilers over the Canucks for a reason. Now, they were wrong in saying it in 4 or 5, right? We knew this was going to be a long series, but the Oilers should be kicking themselves because they could have been out of this series by now if one of the things I mentioned just went true. Because Game 1 was there to steal. That was a bad McDavid game. And then Game 3, they were just like going to do much. Yes, they had 4 posts. I get that. But yeah, so for them to win this series, one of those has to be clicking. And for the Canucks, listen, The fact they had a bad game in Game 4 and still made it 2-2 knows that they know that they could easily they have this series in the bag. Just do not play dump and then get attacked on hockey. Make the McDavid line work like you did in Game 3 when Besser got that goal. Because there are defensive weaknesses on McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard, all right? Darnell Nurse we mentioned already, but out of the top guys, those 3 guys I mentioned, right? So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm still going to stick with my prediction. I know you're going to stick with your prediction. There's no reason not to switch up because it's been that close. It's been a heated battle. We'll see if there's any more possible suspensions, whatever. Soucy's going to be back, so that's a big help. We'll see which one of Cole and Juleson will come out because either or will not matter at this point because they both struggled. So, yeah, we'll see how it ends up going. Moving on to the final series here, which just wrapped up as we speak.
Not wrapped up. Game 5 wrapped up.
Game 5 wrapped up. The Colorado Avalanche took Game 5 and are now down 3-2 to the Dallas Stars. And there's a lot of off-the-ice storylines we need to discuss about with this one, right? Let's get the Dallas one out of the way. Rupe Hintz got hurt, and he was out for this game. Kristanov got hurt, but he was back in Game 5. But the bigger storyline is, once again, the issues off the ice with Valeri Nichushkin. So those of you guys don't know, Valeri Nichushkin was a big factor of why Colorado got out of the first round and a big factor in the playoffs in general whenever he plays. After winning the Cup, he inked an 8-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, and then got himself practically out of the team last year's playoffs when they lost to the Seattle Kraken, where he was alleged, or not alleged, I think he was, I'll say allegedly just to be safe, was found drunk on the streets of Seattle, and then there was a young girl or a girl in general that could be either labeled as a prostitute, they said, or just a girl that was just abducted or something like that, and then he was away from the team. Obviously, consequently, Colorado ended up losing that series.
To Seattle.
Yeah, to Seattle. And then heading into this year, he was put into that new program that NHL put in, the Players Assistance Program, I believe it's called. And which a bunch of players, I think Patrick Laine was in there, Sam Girard was in there, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then now in the playoffs, after coming back, he went on the stage 3, which I didn't know there were stages. Even Greg Wyshynski said I didn't know there were multiple stages in this thing, where he is now suspended without pay for 6 months after getting tested positive on, I don't know if it was PEDs or just drugs, failed drug test. Let's just put it that way. And pretty much ending his tenure with the Colorado Avalanche as his nameplate and all that was off because obviously they don't want to deal with it. And listen, there's a lot of hockey side you got to look at, and then you got to look at the personal side. And Jared Bednar labeled it perfectly, right? The teammates, obviously Jack Johnson was said like that he made his decision. It is what it is, whatever. He made his decision, right? Off the ice, listen, we said the same thing about Jonte Porter and his addiction with the gambling thing. We're going to say here, addiction's a serious thing. It's a thing you can't control if you're very addicted to certain things. So obviously me and you are hoping he could get the help he needs. It's unfortunate that it's coming at the expense of his team during a good playoff run. A playoff run that was going on. Big factor, like he was leading the league leading the playoff teams with goals out of the whole playoffs with 9 in 8 games. Obviously, and then, so it just sucks because, like, a guy that talented is going through something. We don't know what it is. Like we said, just like Jared Bednar said, right now we just got to hope he gets the help he needs. At the same time, got to juggle that we still have a playoff game to play. Unfortunately, ended up losing because Devontae was also out for injury reasons. Again,
I think it was illness.
Illness for Game 4. And obviously, I don't know if he was back in Game 5. You would know that. You could double-check that if you want. But no, obviously Nichushkin's done, right? So he's out. But they ended up closing this game out. And the Colorado Avalanche, we're going to talk about the hockey side of things. That's just our thoughts. I'm pretty sure you agree with what I said about the personal side of things,
yeah,
right?
Everything.
So going to the hockey side of things, the Colorado Avalanche can look at it 2 ways, right? Valeri Nichushkin is a big hole in the lineup now, right? The guy provided 9 goals. He scored in every game in the first round, right? And so there's going to be a big hole to fill there. So either they could just sit in a corner and cry, or come out and play and be like, listen, we could do this without him, right? He did what he did, whatever. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. But when it comes to hockey, we could do it without him. Game 4 didn't look like that way. Again, Devontae was the factor.
But the big factor was the news came out legit in the morning of Game 4.
That as well.
It was a shock factor.
Very big shock.
It would have been pretty embarrassing if the Dallas Stars did not win Game 4. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put Game 4 on just because of hockey and they didn't show that. But yeah, Game 5 they were able to reset. They got Devontae's back, and they played a good game, right? They kept their toe to toe with Dallas. They were down 1-0, but they found a way back and won Game 5 5-3. But as simple as this, right? Yes, Nichushkin's a big piece. Don't get me wrong, but he ain't McKinnon, he ain't Rantanen, he ain't McCarr, and he ain't Devontae's, right? Yeah, at the end of the day, Nichushkin is just the winger that's gonna provide secondary scoring for you, and that as those I'll refer as the help, right? He is not the leader; he is the help.
But he provided a great amount of help, though. That's
a lot of help.
So Lehkonen already also provided that help alongside him. They just need someone else to step up with him. Whether that be Casey Middlestat.
Lehkonen did that today too. I think he got a goal. Middlestat, I think, got a goal in Game 4, I believe.
The Stars also struggled in the series too a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Like not the Dallas Stars, not like the Colorado.
The Colorado Star players.
But yeah, overall, again, Colorado's a very capable team of coming back from 3-1. They already did step on, win Game 5. They're back on home ice again. Did not defend home ice like the Boston Bruins at all. We'll see what happens. Obviously, they're very capable. I don't think Georgiev was as much of a factor in the sense of, how he was in Game 1 against Winnipeg. But the Dallas Stars should be able to get this done, especially with the Nichushkin being out and already having Landeskog out. But actually, never mind. I'm going to take it back a little bit. They do need Rupe hits.
Yeah.
They do need Rupe hits.
They are a deep team, so that helps them.
They are a deep team, yeah.
They're deeper than what Colorado Avalanche are. If the star players don't perform for Colorado, Dallas has got this in the bag because Logan Stankoven and Wyatt Johnson, the young guys stepping up. You still have Jason Robertson. You still have Jamie Benn and Joel Pavelski, the older guys as well. You still have that defense, and Chris Tanev is playing. Even though he's playing hurt, he's still playing. So there's that factor. Going back to Colorado very quickly, listen, Georgiev may not be, but he's not Stuart Skinner. Let's put it that way. He at least stepped up and he's done his job. Like they're saying that the last game, Georgiev kept him in the game no matter the score being lopsided as it was, right?
It wasn't even that lopsided.
Yeah, but either way, he kept him in. It was because of him. Yeah. He kept him in the game. So it was kind of like how Seagulls kept the Canucks in the game in Game 4. So with that being said, yeah, I agree with you. I still think Dallas should close that out. Yes, Rupe Hintz is a big loss. Don't get me wrong. He's one of their top players. But I trust that defense. I still trust Jake Ottinger. Yes, he may not be the same Jake Ottinger as he was like the previous years.
But Jake Ottinger, one of the best bounce back performers there is in the game.
Yeah.
And he just allowed 5 goals. And I think 5.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't think it was empty net goal. I think
no.
Yeah, so he just allowed 5 goals. Right? That's not a good performance for Jake Ottinger.
No.
He knows that. We all know that. There's a standard he set.
But it was also 5-3, so keep that in mind.
Exactly. Well. So, when your team scores 3 goals, as a goaltender, you feel like you should get the job done.
Yeah.
He didn't. Right? Was the goals his fault? Probably not. Well, I didn't look into it too much. But overall, Jake Ottinger bounces back. That's just the type of goalie he is. And he's going to... I'm not... At this rate, it's a fact, almost. It's not even a prediction. It's a spoiler.
Yeah, so, the theme of this episode really is, outside of the Canucks series, can the 3 teams come back from 3-1 or 3-0, right?
They all did their steps.
And this continues, and they have all done the first step.
Initial steps, yes.
And then Carolina's place, they've done 2 steps.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if Dallas does go through, which I think they will in the next game, I'm saying they'll be done in 6 as well. Same thing earlier. I'm being boring. I'm not saying there's no comebacks happening in this, but going back to the Vancouver and Edmonton series very quickly, Dallas should be in the Stanley Cup Finals the way both of those teams have been performing, and they're beating each other up as well. Right, Quinn Hughes does not look the same because he got beat up in the Nashville series, which is leading over. These 2 teams are beating each other up. Players like McDavid, especially the Oilers, are playing heavy minutes. Evan Bouchard's playing 30 plus a game. So for me, if it is Dallas, I think it's easy Dallas in the final. In my opinion, obviously games will be tough. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying if it was an easy pick, the pick should be easy for a lot of teams just because of the way Oilers have looked in the second round, where everybody thought they were gonna walk the Canucks. I don't know if that's the right word to use there. They're gonna walk all over the Canucks. Not the case, and the Canucks are showing their struggles of the inexperience as well. So because of that, this team has all the depth, and if Rupe Hintz especially comes back, they will be perfectly fine going into the final round. That's what I gotta say.
We also got take this point, right? The road that Dallas is, and don't get me wrong, no offense to the Canucks and no offense to the Oilers, They are very good teams, especially the Oilers. The Dallas Stars already eliminated the best team in the playoffs, and that was the Vegas Golden Knights.
And arguably the second best team in the playoffs.
And
Probably.
Maybe. Colorado at the end, they are dealing with so many issues.
Right now.
So
but
I'm not
still,
gonna
at
say
the end of
that.
the day, people thought they were the second best team.
But overall,
third best team.
like if Edmonton goes through, I'm not going to really fully say like, oh yeah, like I'll probably pick Dallas. But I'm not going to be like, okay, yeah, it should be Dallas in the cup final.
No, I think it should be Dallas for me. Just
And
because of
obviously for the Canucks a little bit more just because, you know, they're...
Like either way, it should be Dallas.
But yeah, overall, like, I would pick Dallas, but the Edmonton one's not going to be easy. I'll say that much for sure.
So, yeah, before we go on to the EPL topic here, so before I go on, are you saying Dallas in 6, Dallas in 7, Colorado in 7?
Oh, Dallas in 6.
Okay,
I'm
so
rocking with all my predictions, bro.
Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe as well. Like I said, next one will be the NBA. Comment down below, who do you think is most likely to make the comeback? Is it the Carolina Hurricanes? Is it the Colorado Avalanche, or is it the Boston Bruins? All right, let's move on. Let's get to the EPL final week of European soccer in general. The Champions League final is on June 1st, so we have still time for that. The FA Cup is next weekend. But, you know, Bayer Leverkusen's already won the league. Real Madrid has already won the league. And PSG has already won the league. All these teams have won. The question now is who's going to be the EPL winner. And the midweek kind of helped because there's a lot of fun storylines with what Tottenham had to go through, right? Tottenham had to win to have a potential Champions League spot. And if they win, that means Arsenal wins the league most likely. Because heading into the final week, Arsenal would have been ahead, and they were ahead on goal difference. They would have to choke to lose that. City win, Tottenham is out of the Champions League, which Aston Villa ends up getting, which shout out to them, they ended up getting it. And Arsenal will be obviously going into it 2 points behind.
So the way you look at this, if you're a Tottenham fan, I don't even know if you exist or not, but if you are,
you're gonna win at what cost?
You're just like, I won't mind taking this loss. You'll be like happy with the loss type of thing, because obviously you do not want to help Arsenal, no matter what the.
It's a win at what cost?
No matter what's at stake for you, right? I think in this case, Tottenham fans were like, lose at whatever cost it is.
For me, if I was a Tottenham fan, I was going for the win. I don't care. I got to look at myself and be like,
yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, talking about the game, congrats to Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's second all-time in assists. I'm just going to confirm that quickly. And obviously,
Erling Haaland is Golden Boot leader again.
Yeah, Erling Haaland should get the Golden Boot. But the big story has, yes, Kevin De Bruyne records his 112 Premier League assists, surpassing Fabregas for second most all-time.
Who's first?
I don't know. I didn't check. I just said what score said, essentially.
Yeah.
But overall, the big story of this game was Ortega subbing in for Ederson, who went off injured and made a big save on Heung-min Son's breakaway that would have tied the game 1-1. But after that led to a penalty, which was a clear penalty. And Haaland put it away and put City in the driver's seat once again on the final day of the Premier League title race. And are in control, trying to win their fourth Premier League title in a row.
Yeah, I don't think that has been done. I'm trying to think if one of those Manchester United teams have done four. I know they've done treble, like 3 in a row. I don't know what that means. I don't meant to say.
That's not treble.
I meant to say triple.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I said, going into this, City have to choke because City needs to win. Period. Point blank. Or they need an Arsenal draw or a loss. But if they do draw or lose, then Arsenal needs to lose, because then Arsenal could match with the tie, because Arsenal match with a win and City tie, because the goal difference will go towards Arsenal, which will be the reverse Aguero moment for them, right back in 2011, I think it was, at the expense of obviously our beloved Manchester United. Or if Arsenal just win and with a City loss, they get the title that way. So going into it, I think we both said it from the beginning. We're not going to change our mind. It is Man City. They've always done this in the clutch.
Even when it was a 3-team race,
yeah,
we said Man City.
So rounding out that, and by the way, Arsenal's playing Everton, City's playing West Ham.
There's also one more thing I need to bring up for the Premier League, and that is a stretch, but there is still a mini relegation battle in the sense of Sheffield's relegated at 20th. Burnley's relegated at 19th. Those are official. Luton Town is at 26 points.
Look at the goal difference.
Bro, Luton Town is at 26 points. Nottingham Forest is at 29.
Look at the goal difference.
I don't look at a goal difference. Oh, yeah, goal difference. What is the
That matters. Like, I don't think Nottingham, or like, unless both of them, like.
Oh, yeah, is that big of a difference?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
it's 11 goals.
Okay, never mind.
So, yeah. Or 12, sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's just a title race.
Yeah. Like, the only way it's going to happen is if one team wins 6-0, the other team loses 6-0. Like, it could happen, fine. Like,
happened in Ted Lasso.
You're telling me there's a chance?
Okay. Ted Lasso.
That's Ted Lasso. But, yeah, so it looks like the relegation battle is done. Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield are going down. These are the 3 teams that went up?
Yeah. Okay,
so these are the 3 teams that are going back down. Everton survived the scare with a point deduction. I know Nottingham also got a point deduction as well. But now, going back to the top, the European battle as well. So we know City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Villa are all through to the Champions League.
Tottenham locked up a 5, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they should. Or
at least a Europa League spot.
Locked up a Europa League spot, not 5th, because Chelsea technically has a chance to come 5th, considering what their season was. I think a lot of those wins came without Enzo Fernandez too, which is crazy. But
Cole Palmer.
Man United is at 8. Big win today against Newcastle, which pissed me off because they were actually playing really good. This is why I want to keep Sophie and Amrabat, because of these last two games they played against Arsenal and this. Like, this is why he should have played more, just to see not the negative.
Yes, he has been bad
because he was coming off the bench,
but he's also preventing a lot of opportunities as well.
Newcastle is 7th. Chelsea is 6th. Like I said, Chelsea and Tottenham should have that locked up. The only way Chelsea falls is if they lose and Newcastle win the final week. Then Chelsea gets Conference League, and Newcastle gets the Europa League spot. Man United have a chance at Europa League if they win by a lot as well, and Chelsea lose by a lot. It's the same thing as the relegation battle, which we don't think is going to happen. But the other way is if they beat Man City, which is a tall task, in the FA Cup final. So what a send-off it will be for Rafa Varane and Anthony Martial and half the team that's supposed to be gone with a new staff coming in. And a chance for Ten Hag to keep his job.
Are they even healthy enough to be on the pitch? Or on the bench?
Well, just to send them off some way.
Right? Send them off, yeah.
That's one way they could do it. Otherwise, yeah, they're looking like to have no Europe whatsoever. The other way is Conference League is still an opportunity if Newcastle lose to you lose to Brentford and United win or draw.
But yeah, title race is the only picture here for the EPL. And it's going to come down to the end of the day, once again, on the last match day 38. But this time, Arsenal did not choke, right? Arsenal had an incredible season. Credit to Arsenal. They were there from the beginning to the end at the top spot. Obviously, struggled a little bit in the beginning, but overall found a way to have held the lead. And unlike last year where they actually choked it away, this year it was just going to be like one of those things where, like, City exists, right? Like how Liverpool felt it in the last few years, right? Even in the year before they won and the year after, a couple years after they won too. It just City exists, and it's City's Premier League right now, and we're just living in it.
Which is why people are calling us the Farmers League because of it, because it's the same winner.
Yeah,
over and over.
That's true.
Before we close it out, the promotion teams right now, it's Leicester City's a lock, Ipswich Town are a lock. The playoff is going down right now. So Leeds is taking on Norwich, the 3-6 matchup. Leeds kind of choked it away from having an automatic spot. And it's Southampton versus West Brom. West Brom could potentially come up. So
Southampton as well.
Yeah. Has it been a while? No, Southampton got relegated last year, didn't they?
Still.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is it's been West Brom. It's been a while. Is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see how that goes, right? If you were to take a prediction, just make a fun prediction. Who cares? Leeds is versing Norwich. Southampton is versing West Brom.
Southampton.
Okay, I'll go with Leeds.
Yeah, okay.
Just because we don't know the assessment really because it's
did Lavia did leave, right? Romeo Lavia?
Yeah. He went to Chelsea and was injured the whole year.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. The one guy who did not leave for Chelsea is Olise. He came back and he's rumored for Man United in the offseason.
He freaking cooked us when he beat us 4-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Southampton has some young players that were pretty good. Obviously, Lavia was one of them. But
yeah, they still have Kyle Walker-Peters and Bednarak. So those guys stayed loyal. Vardy, the ultimate loyal man.
Oh yeah, ultimate.
He's done all this and Tottenham still haven't won anything.
Albrighton.
Albrighton's still there?
Yeah, I think he was.
I was trying to see if I recognize any name from.
He might not have played.
Connor Cody, but he wasn't there from the beginning.
No, that was a Wolves player.
Ricardo Pereira still there.
That was after, I think.
Vestergaard.
After.
Dewsbury Hall. I know he
was a young guy.
I know. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, no.
Harry Winks.
After.
Daka.
After.
Kalechi and Nacho. He came after, but I'm saying he's still there.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Vardy. I don't see Albrighton. What position is he again? Fullback?
Winger, fullback, whatever. Albrighton's there. Trust.
Oh yeah, he is. Mark Albrighton. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. I'm excited to kind of see what Man United do with all these rumors happening with the new ownership.
And then fast forward in August, where we're disappointed in the transfer window once again, and we're buying random ass players that don't fit the system.
Yeah, but the difference now is we actually kind of have a system going. With we have Omar Barada from Man City. We're trying to get Dan Ashworth from Newcastle. So there are people that we've added that are actually quality. So we'll see how much it gets followed. That's the main thing. And if Ten Hag stays in, and we'll discuss more of this when it concludes this coming weekend. But yeah, so pretty much it from us. Make sure you guys like this video, comment, and subscribe. Audio listeners, make sure you guys rate, review, and download like you always do. Follow our socials link down below. We're dropping clips and stuff like that over there as well. Follow our Twitter for potential any updates. Once again, we're on 531 subscribers, so please help us get that to 600. And the road to 1,000 continues. Road to the partnership, once we figure out how that works, continues. But yeah, once again, we appreciate everybody. We won't be here without you guys. It's been a 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's been
our
1
first
year.
video was dropped on the 14th. It's been our 1 year. When you dropped that little cringy trailer video we dropped, and we come a long way. Multiple different setups, different videos. A video hit 10,000 views and all that. Socials are going crazy now, at least than when it first started. So once again, all this is happening because of you guys. And other than that, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.